The Realme GT60 is one of the best phones in its segment. It's pretty much the Realme GT Neo 6 SE that I bought from China and did a video on a little while back, but with a slightly faster charger. Now, I've been using this phone as my primary for about a couple of weeks, and in today's video, let me explain why I think this is one of the best phones to buy at its price point. Now, if this is your first time here, or in case you just don't remember, my name is Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and let's get started. Now, the first thing that impressed me about the GT60, it's its build. No, I'm not talking about that mirror-esque glass to the back, which I most definitely have mixed feelings about. What I'm talking about here is rather the actual in-hand feel, how comfortable it is. It's 8.7mm thick with a display and a back that both curve at the edges. This causes the GT60 to feel sleeker than it actually is, whilst also keeping the width down. Now, it's not just that. The weight is also quite manageable at 190-ish grams despite no compromises being made with the battery. Now, another thing to note is this lip around the camera array on the included case. Yes, it makes it look ugly, but it also lets us use the 60 when it's set down on a surface. Without the case, it sure does wobble. In this back, it's plastic and so damn prone to picking up fingerprints. So, ugly as it is, I'd recommend leaving the case on. The next thing I found impressive was the battery life. Guys, I ended most of my days with the 60 with about 40% left in the tank. And even on days where I was pretty aggressive with my usage, I still found myself having 20 to 30% left. So battery life is definitely a strength here. And when it comes time to charge again, the included 120-watt charger, it gets you from 0 to 50 in just 10 minutes and a full charge in about 25. Now, the absolute highlight, what in my opinion makes the GT60 best in class, is the chip on the inside. The Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 that's at the heart of it all. Now, this is a chip I've talked about quite extensively on older videos. In fact, I'll leave a link to my dedicated video on this topic for you to check out if you want more information. But long story short, the performance is close to flagship level. And on this phone, with the LPDDR5X RAM and with mostly UFS 4.0 storage, the numbers are great. Realme also seems to have done a good job with the cooling. So regardless of if you're playing games or rendering a video or just using the GT60 for regular mundane day-to-day tasks, the experience, it's very good. Talking about experience, this is Realme UI 5 built atop Android 14. And yes, there is some bloat, but it can be uninstalled. And you might have to disable some notifications, but once you've done all that, the experience, it's pretty solid. It's worth noting that Realme is promising 3 years of Android version updates and 4 years of security patches for this one. There's also some neat included functionality like this Geek power tuning option. It lets you customize and fine-tune the CPU and GPU performance. There's also GT Mode 5.0, which gives you more customization options when gaming. There's even a gimmicky air gestures option that kinda sorta works. Now, this display you're seeing here, it's 6.78 inches. It's an LTPO AMOLED panel. The LTPO part is partly a reason why the battery life is so good. Now, playing games, reading text, scrolling through social media, watching high-res content, no matter what it is that you're doing, this 10-bit 1.5K resolution screen, it looks good. The 120Hz refresh ensures everything remains smooth. And the hardware inside is obviously strong enough to keep pushing that refresh continuously. On the brightness front, 6000 nits is the insane claim from Realme. Now, while that's just for HDR, the panel is plenty bright. See how easy it is to see what's on screen under the midday sun? That's because it outputs over 1700 nits under auto mode. That's well over the 1600 Realme claims. So outdoors, indoors, this display, which is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2, it's excellent. It's also complemented well by the rich and loud pair of speakers that Realme's provided. Here, have a listen. As far as optics are concerned, we have a dual camera setup to the back. The primary is a 50 megapixel Sony Letia sensor, the Light 600. It's paired with an optically stabilized f1.9 lens. The wider aperture means it can shoot images with a shallow depth of field like this. The strong background blur is pleasing to look at. The images, they're well detailed, they look good, like look at the veins on the petals. The dynamic range is acceptable. The colors, it's a little on the warmer side. There's also a slight saturation boost, so it's not perfectly natural, but the images, they're still good. Now, even when you take sunlight out of the equation, the GT60 does a fair job. See these shots that were taken at night? See how the noise is kept low and the images are still quite detailed? Now, I wouldn't go as far as to call this best in class since it doesn't do that pixel-esque darkness boost, but I'd still call it quite competent under low light. Now, the secondary is another Sony sensor, an 8 megapixel IMX355 this time. This definitely lacks detail compared to the primary, but it does share the same processing as the primary. I like how the colors are consistent across the sensors. What I don't like here is the fact that the lens for this, it's got a fixed focus, so you get no option to shoot macros. Moving on to video, you can shoot 4K at up to 60 FPS via the primary. The resulting footage looks good, yes, it's reasonably detailed, but there's quite a bit of EIS jitter. On the selfie front, we have a 32 megapixel shooter that once again is quite competent. It is a fair job, good with the dynamic range, the skin tones, the edge detection when it comes to portraits. That said, I do feel there's a slight bit of skin smoothing going on. It's not too bad, but it is there. Still, I'd say the selfies, they were good. It's worth noting you can even shoot 4K footage with stabilization, and the mic pickup, I feel it's handled very well. Now, Realme has priced this phone at 31,000 rupees, and for that price, I feel like they've put together a pretty solid package. The performance, the ergonomics, the display, Realme's done good. Does it have its cons? Sure. But in this segment, if you end up going for the GT60, I don't think that's going to be a decision you'd regret making. So I guess that's pretty much it in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Ash out.